Hey now, are you ready?
Join corner where the big boys play.
What's going on, everybody? How are we doing today? Oh, it is going to be a doozy of a show for you today, everybody. I'm super excited about this one. As I always say, it's a juicy one. It's a juicy topic. So super excited to see everybody this morning. Got to say hello to everybody. How are we doing? We got the J Vlog in the house. What's going on? We got Van Vita Travels. Awesome to see you from Canada, of course. We have oh my gosh, we got all kinds of people. We got Letitia in the house. Hello, Letitia. We've got Pakistan in the house. Abdul is watching with us today. Jennifer loves that countdown timer. Definitely gets you going, right? Gets you going. If you didn't have your coffee, that thing will get you going. So we've got all kinds of people. We got My Vivid Live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Judy is here from Texas. Hello, how are you? My Little Pony fan established 2004. Hello, my friend. And we got Tennessee. We got Bangalore. Oh my gosh. Landlord Advocates is back. Hello. It's good to see you watching us again. We got Miami. We got Philippines. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We've got the Caribbean. Ooh. Probably a lot warmer right there right now. Oh, fall has arrived in Indiana. It is like not even going to hit 60 degrees today. Oh, we've got, hello, James Hudson. Hello, Ed. How we doing? Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh. So many fun people tuning in today. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about mobile live streaming. We call this kind of like live streaming on the go, mobile. Essentially, the concept here is you are not in your normal kind of setup. So here where I am today, I'm in my home office, which is also my studio, right? So it kind of doubles as the home office, it doubles as the downstairs living room, and it also doubles as my video studio. So this is, I pretty much have a pretty permanent setup here. But if I wanted to go live outside of this environment, we'd call that live streaming on the go, mobile live streaming. So we're going to talk about a couple of options that you have when it comes to being out and about. Maybe you're attending a conference. Maybe you're traveling, you're on location with a client. Maybe you're on vacation and you still want to be able to create that live video. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So definitely wanted to kind of give you guys that preface. And if this is your first time and watching on the go, that is right, Bert, for sure. Definitely. The same thing, right? People are going to be watching on the go as well. So, all right, let me see here. So here's the deal. This is our Ask StreamYard show. If this is your first time tuning in to the Ask StreamYard show, let me give you a quick little rundown about what this is. Essentially, what we love to do is we look in the community, we look on social media, and when you use that hashtag Ask StreamYard, it definitely calls our attention. But essentially what we're doing is we are looking for questions from the StreamYard users and our community for great topics that other people will find valuable to learn from. So essentially we call this the Ask StreamYard show, where you can ask us questions, and if it's juicy, we're going to grab it and we're going to feature it on this show. We're going to feature you and your question, and we're also going to send you an awesome StreamYard t-shirt. So today, that's what we're doing, right? We're going to be talking about this question that we got asked by Francesca. She says, okay, Hive Mind, I need your help. I'm on vacation, but opted to continue my live stream using the bare essentials. I brought my Logitech Brio, which is a webcam for those of you that aren't sure, and my iPad. But at the last minute, realized the iPad has no USB port to plug the camera into, so I just used the iPad for streaming. Is there a connector or adapter I can get for next week? I want to keep the iPad close to read comments and use the flexibility of the Brio's camera angles and view. Thank you. So that's what we're going to be diving into today, okay? But really, really, really quick, before we get started with today's show, I got a really cool announcement. Then we're going to dive in. Okay. So I hope you're ready, and I hope that you've got questions about mobile live streaming. But before we get going with that, look at what we've got coming up. We have another StreamYard showcase coming up, an industry showcase. This one I am really excited about. This is actually for event production professionals. And so what we're going to be doing, or what StreamYard's going to be doing here, is actually talking about live stream producers. So this is something that everyone should definitely be tuning into. And here's why. A live stream producer might be something that you are interested in doing for other people, but it's also something that you might be needing to consider hiring for yourself. Live stream producers essentially help you with the show flow. They help you stay on task. They help you focus on your audience, focus on your content, while they essentially run the show for you. Now, these are amazing for regular live streams, but also for online virtual conferences and, online events that you might be hosting or attending as well. So definitely check that out. You can go find that at streamyard.com/SY showcase, and it's going to let you get registered for that event. It is happening on next Thursday, October 7th. So I definitely wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that. Again, if you're using StreamYard and you're kind of getting really good at it, you could potentially be hired to be a live stream producer for other people, right? Or, like I said, if you're getting to a point where your shows are great and you want to focus on that content and you want somebody else to help you with your run of show, then you might want to consider finding a live stream producer. So you can learn about this at this industry showcase happening next Thursday on October 7th. So definitely check that out. Okay, we are going to have some fun today. We're going to be talking about live streaming on the go, mobile live streaming. Now, before I get started, okay, I need everybody to kind of come in close here. Let me tell you something. There are probably about 100 ways that we could dive into this subject, and we could literally sit here for probably 6 hours and talk about mobile live streaming on the go. All right. But bear with me, okay? We're going to talk about a few of those options, some of my favorite options when it comes to live streaming on the go. So keep in mind, there are so many ways to do this. The world is your oyster when it comes to creating live videos, whether it be in your office or out of the office. So we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about some of my favorite things for sure. There you go. Marissa says, live stream producer. That's me. There you go. There's one of our live stream producer right there. Okay. Agent Bay says, this is going to be juicy. I am mobile, 100% van life. Wondering what is the best setup for a complete mobile live stream. Awesome. Well, hopefully today, Agent Bay, after we talk, you will have some great options, and we will, you'll have some ideas to go along with your van life, right? And doing all that fun stuff. Okay, let's see here. I got to get warmed up, right? I got to get ready for this. Let me take a quick sip of water because I have got a tickle in my throat that all of a sudden decided to come hang out with me. If I'm new to you, then you're going to know something. We're going with the flow. I like to do these live videos. I like to keep it real. If you have been here week after week, I typically will drink water while I'm live streaming, and you should too. Hydrate, right? Hydrate. Okay, so here's the deal. I wanted to kind of set the stage a little bit. So again, today's topic is about mobile live streaming. Now, specifically, Francesca was asking about using an iPad with a USB webcam. Specifically, she is talking about the Logitech Brio webcam. Now, her main goal here, she had two goals in mind when it came to using this setup, which I'm going to go ahead and tell you can't be done. That can't be done. You can't use a USB webcam with an iPad. The technology, you can try the adapters, but as far as I know, I've done a lot of research, it can't be done. There might be some hack ways you could do it, but Francesca, she had two objectives in mind with this setup. One, she wanted to be able to see her StreamYard dashboard right in front of her, be able to see those comments, be able to control the banners on that nice large iPad screen, right? But she also wanted to be able to leverage the wide camera angle of the Logitech Brio camera. Now, I actually happen to be an owner of a Logitech Brio camera. This is what it looks like. Mounts to the top of your laptop, or your your monitor. And it has a very wide angle So that field of view, as we call it, it actually has a 90-degree wide angle. Most webcams, a lot of the webcams on the market, it's hooked up. I can't grab it. Like the Logitech 920s, Logitech 922s, those have a much more narrow angle in regards to what's going to show up on camera. So Francesca was wanting that wide angle. She wanted to be able to have a lot of her background in her shot. She maybe wanted to be able to be a little bit close to that camera, but still have a lot of stuff in the background showing up. When you have a more narrow angle, it's kind of just you, and you may even have to scoot back to get your whole, your whole body into the shot. And so depending on what she was trying to accomplish, these wide angle cameras are very popular for people who are doing like fitness instruction, yoga, any demonstrations where they need to have a lot of stuff in that shot. So they need a wider angle. So that was her objective. That's why she wanted to utilize that Brio camera. So here's the deal. Long story short, to answer this question, as I mentioned, you can't hook up a USB webcam to an iPad at this time. There are adapters that have USB hookups, but they don't work in that way, meaning for the webcam, right? So what she did instead is that she just went live with her iPad. Okay. She said, okay, I'm just going to go live with my iPad. But again, she's wanting to use that webcam. So the short story there is that you can't hook up that webcam to an iPad, right? Now, if you have a laptop, that's a whole different conversation. We're going to talk about that option here in just a moment. But I definitely wanted to make sure that we specifically answered Francesca's question. And so that question was, can I hook up a webcam to an iPad? And the answer is no. So then it was, what's the best setup? How can we set up, use what we want to be able to achieve the look that we want? Well, we have lots of options, my friends, lots of options. But before we go too much further, let me break this down really quickly. Let me start with the difference. So when we're mobile, when we're out of the office, if you will, right? You have options, okay? You can simply just go live right inside the app that's on your mobile device. So you can go live on a mobile device, no problem. However, that means open up Facebook, go live. Boom, simple, easy peasy, right? That means open up Instagram, boom, go live, easy peasy. When it comes to LinkedIn, you have to use a third-party application that is approved by LinkedIn to go live. So you cannot just open LinkedIn and go live. As of right now, you would need a third-party application. StreamYard 100%, in fact, was one of the first ones that LinkedIn partnered with to be able to provide that service. So you would open up StreamYard.com on your mobile device, either in Safari if you're on an iOS device or Chrome if you're on an Android device. And guess what? It's going to work 90% of the way it's going to work on your computer. Okay? So keep that in mind. The same with YouTube. If you do not have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you have to use a third-party app to go live on YouTube on a mobile device, okay? You can go live on a desktop, but to go live mobily on YouTube, if you have less than 1,000 subscribers, you actually would need a third-party app like StreamYard. You would just open StreamYard.com, select your YouTube channel as your destination, and voila, you're ready to go live and rock and roll, okay? So I wanted to make sure I covered that a little bit because as we're talking about live streaming on the go, yeah, you could totally just grab your phone and go live. Very much the most simplistic setup and way to go live. We're going to talk about some best practices and a couple of accessories that you might want to consider if this is your setup. But I definitely wanted to cover and make sure everybody here was aware that StreamYard doesn't have an app, but we don't need an app because literally you're just going to go to StreamYard.com and you're going to see that it works 90% the same way. Now, I did see that somebody asked a question earlier about StreamYard Mobile, and the question from Abdul said, can we use green screen on mobile? As of right now, there is no green screen functionality with StreamYard.com on the mobile device, okay? The other thing that does not work from this standpoint is a shared screen. So if you're wanting to share screens, you would not be able to do that if you're using StreamYard.com on a mobile device. When I say mobile device, I mean an iPhone, or I'm sorry, a smartphone or a tablet device. Okay, those are the mobile devices that we're speaking of. So now everything else works. You can still invite guests. You can interview guests. You can still click on your overlays. You can click on your banners. You can display comments. You can do all of those things. Okay. So all of that works on StreamYard Mobile. So I definitely wanted to make sure that we covered that. Now I wanted to show you really fast to prove to you how easy this works. Let me open up my phone and let me go to StreamYard.com on my phone. Okay. And I'm going to show this to you. Let me get ready to show you actually how this works. Now, the one thing I will say is when you are using StreamYard.com on a mobile device, you're going to want to go horizontal. And I'm going to show you why here. And when I say horizontal, I mean hold your phone landscape, right? And I'm going to show you why here in just a second. First, let me get all set up here so I can show you my phone. I'm using the Reflector 3 application just in case anybody wants to know how I'm about to do what I'm about to show you, which is super fun. Let me see here. All right. Going to get a code to authenticate this device. I couldn't set this up before because it always times out and then I have to do it again. So there's no point. Come on. Here we go. One. There we go. All right. And here in just a moment, I am going to show you my phone. So here we are. Let me go ahead and show you. So here's my phone, okay? So I'm actually going to go ahead and go vertical in. So we're going to start. So here you are, StreamYard.com. And when you log in, it's going to look essentially the same way that your StreamYard dashboard looks like on a computer. It's just on your mobile phone. So super awesome, right? Very simple. Johnny says, StreamYard Mobile is awesome. I use it all the time with guests. Yeah. So I literally wanted to point out that, and yes, you can shuffle the guests. You can essentially do all the same functionality is going to work except for sharing your screen in the green screen. So let's just go into let's create a broadcast, new broadcast. We're going to select my little fake account. I'm going to say demo. Demo. I am literally typing this on my phone right now. So you're seeing all this. I'm going to scroll down. You can see here that you can even schedule for later. You can do all the things, right? And so we're going to go ahead and say create broadcast. And it's going to pull me in to the studio. It's going to ask me to give access to the camera and the microphone. I'm going to say allow. And hey, there we are, right? You can adjust your settings. So in your camera, you can actually do front camera or rear camera. I'm just going to keep it on the front camera for now. And you can select your audio, right? So we're using the iPhone microphone. Now we're going to go back and here I am. So here I am inside StreamYard. I'm going to enter the studio. Now what you're going to notice here, this is the key point that I wanted to bring up, is that when you hold your phone vertically, all right, you're going to only be filling the screen this way. So StreamYard right now only pushes out a landscape video, right? But all you have to do is turn your phone landscape and it's going to go ahead and adjust, and look, it's filling the screen at that point. And as you can see, if I select, I can display the comment and I can turn the comment off. I can go to my banners and I can turn my banner on. I can turn it off. I can even go to my brand. I can change the colors. You essentially have the same functionality that you had inside your studio. Now, the pro tip here, just so you guys know, is that you're going to want to set up your studio from a computer. So like make sure those banners are all set up. You can do it in StreamYard Mobile, but it's not as easy. So set that stuff up ahead of time. Add the videos, add the overlays, whatever you want. Put it in there, and then it's all in your studio ready to go. So I am literally just on StreamYard.com on my phone. This 100% will work on a tablet as well. So as you can see, the simplest way to go live on the go is to use a mobile phone. Now, I'm kind of like shaking all over the place and I'm moving around, right? So let's go ahead and talk about what are some ways for you to get the most out of this type of setup. Now, real fast, Alex, I'm using an application called Reflector 3. It's just an app that you can pay for and download, and you mirror your phone or your tablet to your second monitor, and then I just shared my screen, and that's how I'm showing that, right? So there you go. Okay, so My Little Pony, you have lots of questions. I'm going to take care of you for a moment. My Little Pony, you're going to go to StreamYard.com, sign up for your account, and the login process with the code. We don't use passwords at StreamYard. So you're going to use an email, you're going to sign up for a StreamYard account, and then every time when you log in, you're going to get emailed a code, and that's how you actually get into your account. So go give it a try. Very user-friendly, very intuitive. I guarantee you'll have no problems. If you do, feel free to reach out to our support team for sure. Okay, so there you go. Desert Adventures in Arizona says, I'm trying this on my iPad now. Works well. Yes. And as I mentioned earlier, you cannot share your screen. This is actually a limitation with the tablets and the mobile devices. And then, of course, green screen also doesn't work. So basically everything works except for green screen and sharing your screen. So great question. Irene says, I'm going to try this. How much data do you need? So definitely, this is one of the things you have to consider when you are mobile live streaming is not only you need to think about Wi-Fi. Are you in a place where you have strong Wi-Fi, or are you going to be using cellular data? Okay, so as far as how much data, Irene, that all depends on the length of your stream. So if it's a short stream, not a lot of data. If it's a longer stream, anytime you are streaming, that is using data if you're not connected to Wi-Fi. So I can't really answer the question because it depends on how long your live videos are. Okay, so that is definitely the simplest way, right? But I wanted to show you that StreamYard mobile, because that is something that I actually think that a lot of people don't realize that it's there, right? It's there. So that's why people ask all the time, why doesn't StreamYard have an app? Well, because we don't need an app. It works on your mobile device just with the browser. And again, you can invite guests. All of that still works. Somebody asked the question about toggling between guests. 100% will work. You're going to see those guests at the bottom of your screen. You're going to click on them and you can change the layout. So you can do all the same things when you're on that mobile device. So super, super awesome. Definitely way, way, way fun. Okay, so I wanted to cover that first because that's totally like ground level stuff here. So if you're just now joining us, just so you know, what we are talking about today is we are actually talking about live streaming on the go. So we're talking about, can you actually create live videos when you're not in your main office, your main setup. So mobile live streaming, as I mentioned, here's where I am. I'm in my office. I've got all my equipment hooked up. It's always hooked up at all times. My lights, everything, all set up, right? So today we're talking about what about when you need to be out of the office or away from the studio or away from your main equipment? How can we do this? Can we actually have a really good setup? And the answer is yes. So of course, basic, most easy way is just use StreamYard.com on your mobile device using your camera hooked right in. But let's talk about a few things that you're going to need in order to have a good experience with just using that mobile device. So Francesca had asked the question for today's show, and she was wanting to know if she could hook up, a webcam to her iPad, et cetera, et cetera. The answer is no, you can't. But you can use that built-in camera right there in your phone or, of course, on your tablet. Now, a couple things to think about. You don't want to be holding your device the whole time. You can. I don't recommend it for a couple of reasons. As you saw when I was showing you, it is going to be a little shaky. So you're going to want to consider a tripod. But not all tripods are created equal. Can we talk about this for a second? For example, you're going to find, if you search for mobile tripods, you're going to find a lot of little tripods that look like this. They're really small. They're short. Oh my gosh, so awesome. It could fit in my pocket, right? Like it's so great. The problem with these tripods are, one, a lot of times they are not really made very well, especially the really cheapy ones. So a lot of times they are just cheap and they don't work. The other problem that you run into is that a lot of times these tripods are too lightweight. And when you hook up that phone to it, it actually is going to tip over. So it's probably happened to some of you before. So when you're going to get a small tripod, a mobile tripod, definitely don't get one of the $5 ones. Go ahead and make a little bit of an investment. But something else I want you to think about is when you look up mobile tripods, you're going to see that a lot of them are like really low and they're small. And the reason is because they're meant to be small. They're meant to fit into a laptop bag, into a purse, right? But I want you to consider getting one that telescopes. And here's why. See, this one right here is an example. A lot of times you'll see these tripods marketed and they're pretty small. And it's nice. It's small. I mean, that could fit in my purse. But it also telescopes. And what I mean by telescope means it will get longer and taller. So you could use it as a selfie stick. But really, the whole point here is because when you are streaming, you're probably going to be streaming sitting down, standing up. And when you use one of those short ones, it's probably going to be too low. And you're going to be looking down at it, or you're going to have to find something to prop it up on. So I recommend you get a telescoping tripod that will telescope and be small. And that is because you want your phone, right, to be at eye level or just above, because you want to be looking up. You don't want to be looking down at your phone, sitting down on a, tiny little table, right? So you want to be thoughtful about that. So when it comes to tripods, when you want to go search for them, you're going to search and you're going to see a lot of popular brands, but they're going to be marketing to you these teeny tiny tripods. I highly recommend you spend a little extra and go with a telescoping tripod. Now, the other thing that you're going to need that a lot of those tripods, some of those tripods may not come with, is you're going to need a mobile device holder. So these little like things right here, that is how you're going to fasten your phone onto that tripod holder. Okay. So also be looking for the Landlord Advocate says you can find those for about $8. These are sold all over the place. Many of the modern day tripods actually come with these holders in them now. And so again, if you find one that's for mobile devices and it's telescoping, it's probably going to come with one of these. If it doesn't, as the Landlord Advocate says, you can find these online. In fact, I would recommend you look online because some of the big box stores, I won't name any names, they sell these and they sell them for like $20 a piece. We don't need to be spending that kind of money on this little tiny piece. Go to Amazon, go to the internet, get a 4-pack for $20 if you really need to. I have a few of these because I have a few different setups and I just kind of like to have them all set together. So Neil's World Tech Bite says, I use a full tripod with I think it's Manfrotto is what you're saying, 360 phone mount. Maybe MePhoto. I don't know. Maybe that might be the brand. I'm not sure. I've not heard of that one. But definitely, I wanted to point out you want to use a telescoping David's Cafe. I think we're going to go ahead and put you in timeout because we're not talking about coffee and bacon and stuff. So there you go. Love StreamYard. You can just take care of that right inside the studio. Okay. So essentially, sorry, My Little Pony, this is my last time. You will get that in your email. So that 6-digit code will be sent to your email. If you're still having trouble, do me a favor and reach out to support@streamyard.com and they will take care of you since it sounds like you're having just a little bit of trouble. Okay, so MePhoto, it's a Chinese brand with good quality. Good to know. I always like hearing about a lot of brands because honestly, perfect. Josh says the MePhoto range are fantastic and have a mobile adapter. Awesome. I love hearing about, there are so many different manufacturers. Like I said, we could talk in this stream for 6 hours because there's so many different, possibilities as far as like devices and brands and things and setups. We're going to talk about a few options for you guys today. Some of the basic ones. So here is the deal. Telescoping tripod, right? Consider that telescoping tripod. Make sure you get that adapter. If you're using a phone, that's one thing. If you are going to be using that iPad, if you're going to be using the iPad to stream, okay, then you're going to need a larger holder. I have one and I didn't grab it right before the stream, but these are built similarly where they will stretch and they adjust because iPads, tablets, they're all different sizes. You're going to want to, they do make those full holders for those that will mount to the top of a tripod. If you are, now this is important, please listen. If you are going to use an iPad and you want to mount it to a tripod, you are going to need to make sure you get a beefier tripod. For the same reason that I mentioned, those little teeny tiny ones like this don't tend to work great. The iPad is the tablets are a lot heavier. And so you're going to want to probably maybe look into an actual tripod, like a real tripod that goes all the way up to like 5 feet high. But again, they telescope and fold up. Something like that's going to have a wider base. Now that is going to be able to hold that iPad without it tipping over. So these smaller guys that I'm showing you, these are meant for mobile devices. Now, if I were to keep it super low, it might work, but it's all about, physics, okay? I didn't master in physics. I didn't even take physics, but I can tell you, if you get a cheapy, lightweight little tripod and you try to put an iPad on it, it's going to tip, it's going to literally fall forward and it's not going to work. Okay. So be looking for the proper tripods. Why are these important? These are important for 2 reasons. One, you want stability in that mobile stream. Okay. You don't want to be shaking and all that stuff. Also, I can tell you that after about 5 minutes of holding your phone or your iPad, your arm is going to get very tired and sore, and we don't want that. Okay, we want to create good quality streams where we're not worried about any of that. Okay, the other reason is because, you can, prop it up, set it up somewhere, but not really the best setup. Probably you're going to end up having a weird angle and you're going to be looking down. It's not going to be the best view. Also, having that device right in front of you, like with a tripod, is that you're going to be able to focus on your content, delivering a good quality stream to your audience using both of your hands, and you're going to be able to easily control those StreamYard settings on StreamYard.com on that mobile device. So a tripod is absolutely key when it comes to if you're just going to be using your mobile device to stream. Okay, so I wanted to point that out for you guys and talk about that. Okay, let me see here. Yep, Neil, you're right. OBS, you can use OBS with StreamYard, but that does require a computer. So right now we're just talking about mobile device right now. I'm guessing somebody else asked if they, you know what? Okay, Football Fan Zone brings up something else. Another slight limitation when it comes to something, it's not really a limitation, but if you're using a mobile device to stream, you know how with your camera, when you're doing a video or anything, you can like crop in and zoom in and all that. You cannot actually do that in the StreamYard. So you can't actually do it on any third-party app. When you're using that video, it doesn't actually change. It's just a limitation with the way the cameras work. It could change eventually, but as of right now, it is going to be full frame camera. So when you're using that iPad or iPhone, you cannot zoom in. It's going to be full frame camera when you're using that. So that's a good point. Brought up another slight little thing that I wanted to make sure everybody knew about. Okay, so next up, as far as something to consider when it comes to mobile streaming. Again, we're talking about just using your mobile device. We're going to talk about some other options here in just a moment. The other thing that you're probably going to need to think about when you're using a mobile device is audio. Audio is very important and also something that a lot of people skip. So there's obviously the basic, most easy way for you to enhance your audio experience for when you're using just a mobile device is to use a set of headphones like these, where there's a microphone on them. Now, not all headphones are going to have this microphone, right? Now, you're like, well, I don't want to be wearing headphones. Here's what you could do. You can actually take this off. You can pull this down and just have it coming on one side like such. Literally, the microphone is right here. Don't worry about this. People get all freaked out. They're like, I don't want headphones hanging from my face and stuff when I'm streaming. I'm going to tell you right now, this thing right here is actually a great microphone. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It works amazingly. I've watched live streams where people are recording podcasts, and you got like 2 people on screen that have these fancy audio setups, and then one person is literally just doing the interview with these things, and their audio sounds amazing. Sometimes it sounds better than everybody else's. The microphone is very close to your mouth. It's going to work great. You want to be thinking about this because when you are using your mobile device, Even I will tell you, iPhones, especially when you're using that front camera, that microphone is a great microphone. But it just depends on the environment. So you might want to consider using headphones that are wired into your mobile device that are going to have that audio microphone right there. Now, with that being said, some of you might be thinking, what about AirPods or wireless earbuds? Those are definitely an option. I'm going to tell you that at least right now, I have yet to see or experience wireless earbuds, including the new AirPods, that sound better than this. I promise you. So very often, they really don't sound as good. They're just the way they pull in more background noise. And so, but if you're in a really quiet room, then you might be able to use those. The other thing that tends to happen when people use wireless earbuds with the microphone is that the battery runs out. So think about that too. Certainly something that you want to be careful about for sure. Yolanda says, yes, wire headphones. Yeah, I certainly recommend the wired ones. It's certainly an option for you to use, of course, like I said, the wireless earbuds. Now, there are also a cell phone lapel mic. I love that Joey is bringing this up. The other thing that you can find on the market these days for a lot less money than you used to is a mobile device lavalier mic. So this is actually a lavalier mic that you can plug into a mobile device. Now do you see the connection there though? There is a limitation on the connection. That is not going to work on an iPhone. That is not going to work on a modern iPad or a modern iPhone. So that's something to consider. If that's the case, you need to get one of these, right? You need to have one of those. One of these right here. These guys. It's an adapter that will let you hook in that other I dropped it. It'll let you do this. These are also a great option. Okay, now this is a wired lavalier mic. So there are also wireless options as well. A very, very popular option that is out there that I have seen a lot of people, I have not personally used. I do not own a pair. I do not own a set of this. Would be the Rode Wireless Go wireless microphone. Oops, let me get this on the other screen so I can show y'all what I'm talking about. Let's do this. Okay. Let's show you what I'm talking about here. All right. So this is what this looks like. So lavaliers, this is wireless. Now you are going to possibly need some accessories in order to hook this into a mobile device. These are not cheap. Okay. Do you see that price tag? These are not cheap, but these are wireless lavalier microphones. And so if you're doing an interview or if you don't want to be wired into the situation, these are great. These will work with a DSLR camera as well. You may need some accessories in order to make this work. So definitely think about it for sure. Yes. So Nicholas says, yes, I love these. I have these. There are a lot of people that use these and love them and rave about them. Again, I personally have not used them. I do not have them. They are not cheap. So they are expensive. So this is a fancier thing to be thinking about. We've got people. Carlos is here. Hello, Carlos. Glad that you are here. Actually, Carlos has an awesome setup. I've got a picture of it that I'll show you all in a second. He's got another option here for everybody. So there are a lot of options out there. I haven't vetted these myself personally. I know a lot of people that have used the Rode, which is why I felt comfortable showing them. The only problem is that it's expensive, right? That's the challenge that we run into when it comes to that one. So there are definitely there are lots of products on the market. Do your research, read the reviews, and ask around, right? Ask around. So definitely go to YouTube, watch videos. There's a lot of people that are helpful. There are people that do reviews of these types of products, but do your research. Don't just buy something because somebody told you to, or don't just buy something because, you found it on Amazon. Not all products are treated the same. Do your research. That's what I always tell people when it comes to buying equipment that you don't have a personal experience with. So definitely wanted to point that out. So that's audio. So that's really important when it comes to these essentials, when it comes to using mobile. The other thing that you're going to want to consider when it comes to mobile is not only your lighting is important. So if you're, just if you're out and about, and just be trying to find, again, you don't have your lights with you, right? So find a light source, a natural light, a patio door, a window, something like that. So be thoughtful of that as well. And then the other thing that's really, really critical is that I think people just forget about is the battery life. So the battery life of your device. So you may have 90% when you start streaming, but when you're live streaming, it does eat a lot of battery. It does take it, and it will eat it up faster. So depending on how old your device is, how fresh your battery is, you may not have the battery life that you think that you're going to have. Live streaming is intense on these devices. And so you're going to want to make sure that you either have an extra long charging cable, or maybe an extension cord you can plug into the wall and use your normal charging cable for too. Now, there's something important here. If you need to be plugged in and charging at the same time, guess what you can't use? You can't use these because it uses the same connection. And so in that case, you may have to go with the regular microphone that's on the mobile device, or use those wireless earbuds, as I mentioned before, that are Bluetooth. Now, the only thing I'll say about those is that I do see sometimes that the microphones don't always pick up. This, I think, especially is common with Facebook Live and Facebook live streaming. Sometimes Facebook, no matter what you have selected and what you have hooked up, it's going to revert to the regular microphone on your mobile device. That is just something that to be thoughtful of about. And so worst case, go with a nice quiet environment and be closer to the device. Okay, Aussie K-pop says there's a double lightning adapter. Awesome. There are adapters you can buy. That's true. You can get adapters that will plug into that phone, and then they let you plug in USB-C and other things. So great suggestion. Definitely super glad that you said that for sure. So super excited that you added that. Beautiful value. Okay, let me see here. Checking in. Woo, we got all kinds of people coming in, hanging out with us, right? James says, Rode is the de facto standard. You get what you pay for, definitely. Another option is IK Multimedia. Yeah, there are all kinds of brands. Rode is kind of like a leading brand when it comes to audio equipment, but there are lots of other brands hitting the market. Like I'm telling you right now, this is a company that probably ripped off. I think I actually have the Rode version of this, and it looks just like it. I mean, the freaking picture looks the same. So they probably just mimicked the same thing that Rode has at half the price. So definitely a great point for sure. Okay, let's keep going, right? Let's definitely keep going. So yeah, some phones do still have the regular plug-in, the headphone jack separate from a charging cable. Modern iOS devices, not so much, right? Not so much. Okay, let's keep going, but let me just go back to the things that we need to be thinking about when it comes to your mobile setup. So again, reliable tripod with the proper height, right? Enhanced microphone. We want to make sure we can try to enhance that audio if we can. I suggest wired headphones if at all possible with that microphone on there, and then an extension cord or a longer charging cable so that you can maintain that battery life. The worst thing that we'd want to do is actually miss out on keeping our live stream going because we ran out of battery. That would be terrible. All right, so we're going to keep moving. I've got some more suggestions for you guys. We're going to take it from just mobile device. We're going to talk about some other options as well. Now, before I do that, for those of you just joining us, we're talking about mobile live streaming today. We're we're answering Francesca's question where she actually asked, hey, she wanted to hook up her Brio USB camera to her iPad. She wanted to know if there was a way to do that because her biggest thing was she wanted to be able to read the comments on the iPad, have that nice large, screen, but then also have that wider angle of the actual Brio, the camera angle. She wanted to have all that other stuff coming in wider. And so unfortunately, that's a little tricky. We can't hook up a USB camera to an actual iPad. And so what we have to do instead, let me get this. Oh my gosh, I was getting lost in my studio. Sorry about that. So you can't hook up a camera to an iPad, right? You have to use the camera on the actual device if that's what you're doing. Now, something I wanted to point out. We're talking about using your mobile device and using StreamYard.com on your mobile device to go live, which is an amazing way. It's awesome. I did a demo of it in the beginning of the stream. So if you missed that, go back and watch the replay. But something I wanted to point out. What if you wanted to use your iPhone because you have the tripod for it, or you want to move around, you want to be able to do a tour, or you want that phone to be kind of far away from you because you're doing a big demo. You're standing really far back. You're doing a cooking demo. You're doing a crafting demo. You're doing a painting demo. You're doing a fitness instruction, yoga instruction, anything like that. That phone is going to be like 6-7 feet away from you. How are you going to read comments? How are you going to click on the banners? How are you going to display comments? Well, my friend, consider using both an iPhone and a tablet. If you are one of those people that actually does have, and I'm sorry when I say iPhone, I actually mean smartphone. If you have a smartphone and you have a tablet, you can use both of those at the same time to not only have yourself on screen, but then also run your show. Okay? So what the option here is that you are going to open up your live broadcast. You're going to use your phone as the actual camera source. So you're going to enter it in through there. You're going to use the phone as your camera and your audio. You're going to set it up and don't go live yet. Okay. Then you're going to pull up your iPad and you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to go to StreamYard.com and you're going to go enter that studio again, same studio, the same stream that you're about to click go live. You're not going to enter the stream, meaning you're not going to add yourself to the broadcast. You're going to turn off your camera for just safekeeping, and you're going to mute the microphone on that stream on the iPad. Now, you're also going to turn your speaker down. However, it's going to still play some audio. What this is going to allow you to do is you're actually going to be inside that studio on your phone and on your iPad, and you're going to see both of those at the bottom of your StreamYard studio. But you're going to enter the stream with your iPad, but you're going to with your iPhone. And your iPad's going to stay behind the scenes, backstage. But the audio is still going to come through that speaker, even though you have that speaker turned all the way down. It's a weird thing. I don't know why these mobile devices do not let us 100% fully mute the audio. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put one of these bad boys inside your headphone jack. Okay. Now that's a headphone one, but then if you have a newer device, then you're going to need one of these adapters again, right? You're going to want to put one of these in there. Oh, come on. Now that by itself isn't going to work. If you plug this thing in, it's not going to work. It's still going to play audio. You have to have an actual headphone cable. So if you have headphones and you have an extra set sitting around and you have the money, you're going to cut the cord off. And when you plug that into the headphone jack, it's going to basically it's not going to play any sound. The reason why this is important is because you're streaming and you're streaming with your iPhone and your microphone is on your iPhone. If your iPad's playing sound, it's going to pick up on that iPhone microphone and you're going to get an echo effect. Okay. The reason why we're doing this is we're streaming and we're on camera with our iPhone, but we have our iPad in front of us. We're backstage. We can still display comments. We can control banners right there and we can see everything right close up to us on the iPad. So you're in the studio twice, but you're only in the stream with your phone. I hope that makes sense for everybody. I know it's kind of a very interesting kind of concept, but it's definitely a trick. You can also use this exact same trick anywhere. If you're using a computer, you can have your phone up and be doing the same thing. So it's all the same. You can do all of it, right? So that's definitely one of those kind of like hacky tricks that is super awesome. So Paranormal Pop says, has StreamYard released an app for phones? So Paranormal Pop, go watch the replay when we're done. I did a full demo. There's no app because StreamYard.com on a phone works just like it does on a computer, with the exception of you can't share your screen, you can't use green screen, but it absolutely works all the same. You can do all the same things you can on a computer right there on StreamYard.com on your mobile device. So there is no app because there doesn't need to be, right? So because it can be used in a browser. So, but we did a demo. So definitely Paranormal Pop, check that out when we're done with today's stream. Okay. Right. So Alvin, this is definitely a limitation, right? So if you're putting that if you're putting that headphone thing in there to get the sound to go away, you will run into the challenge of the powering. So your iPad would need to be fully powered. But Aussie K-pop Mom TV said there's also a double, you can get a double adapter that'll let you have two plugged in. So I've not used one of those, but it sounds like they exist. So super cool. So yes, you guys are loving the 2 device idea. Definitely gonna have to watch the replay. No problem. So yes, definitely let's check that out, right? Let's try it. That was kind of like a little thing. So I wanted to make sure Francesca, she said she wanted to have that iPad right there. Well, you can absolutely do that. You can use 2 devices. So you can use 2 phones, you can use 2 iPads, you can use 2 tablets, you can use a Google tablet with an iPhone. Two mobile devices will give you that setup. Okay? All right. Here's what we're going to do. Thank you, Aussie K-pop. She says Belkin makes those double adapters. So sounds like we all need to check out those double adapters, right? Okay. So, let me move on. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is actually the next level setup. So that was all mobile device, right? That was all mobile device. Now, there's some fancy equipment we can talk about in just a moment, but here's the deal. The best way to have a fancy setup or a nice way to have a fancy setup is to use a laptop, right? Because we talked about one of the risks you run into when you're just using a mobile device is your internet connection. You are going to either be forced to use Wi-Fi or you're going to be forced to use your cellular data. Now, if you're out in the middle of a state park and you want to be live streaming from there, you're probably going to be using cellular data. Something to keep in mind is how reliable is that internet where you are. So that's something to consider when you are going to be live streaming on the go. This is important if you're live streaming in the car, any of those things, because your internet signal is going to come and go. That's just the way it works, right? These towers, until we have foolproof cellular data all over the place with no gaps or dead zones or anything like that, you could lose connection in your stream. So keep that in mind. The other thing that I want to make sure that everybody thinks about too is if you're connected, let's say you're out and about and you're on location and they have Wi-Fi and you connect to their Wi-Fi. If you're going to be moving around that building or you're going to be coming in and out of that building, you may lose connection to that Wi-Fi. And if you lose connection to the Wi-Fi, what's going to happen is all of a sudden it's going to try to hang on to Wi-Fi as long as it can. And so your stream quality is going to diminish. Okay. And then if you lose connection, your phone's going to all of a sudden kick over to cellular data, which may then bring it back, but you're going to have a lot of instability in the signal, which is also going to diminish the quality of your stream. So just be thoughtful of it. Just something to think about as you're approaching mobile live streaming. So definitely one of those things to think about for sure. Okay. Let me look. Is that only with the upgrade? Beth, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Everything I'm showing everybody today, meaning using StreamYard.com on a mobile device, using multiple devices and being able to enter the stream, is all available on all 3 plans, the free, the basic, and the professional. All of this is doable on any of those plans. But if there's something else that you're asking, just let me know specifically what it is you're asking. Yes, we've covered this. So you cannot share a screen if you're using StreamYard.com on a mobile device. So that is a limitation from the device standpoint. So as of right now, if you are going live on these mobile devices, also keep in mind that you cannot share screens. So you can't do presentations. If you wanted to share images, then what you would want to do is if you're on a basic or paid plan, upload those images as overlays, and then you can display them that way. They're going to just display over the whole screen, and that's one of the ways you can get around that because all the overlays do work on the mobile version. So, okay. All right, let's move forward. So let's talk about laptop streaming. So laptop streaming is also an option that I would want everyone to consider. So Francesca did ask the question about, being able to go live on the go. She wanted to know about hooking that Brio into her iPad. Well, that will not work. But if you have a laptop, this will work. So let's talk about some considerations that you might want to think about when it comes to using a laptop for streaming. You're going to want to use a webcam. Most, and I say most, laptops have built-in webcams inside of them. And usually they are not good quality webcams. So you probably want to consider getting a USB webcam to improve the quality of that video that you're trying to create. My webcam on my laptop is awful. Like, I bought a webcam like, 8, 9, 10 years ago, and that thing works better than the built-in webcam in my laptop that I bought 2 years ago. I am not kidding. It is like the crappiest, worst quality, worst color. It's blurry. The resolution is so bad. I'm like, why did they even bother? Right? And a lot of laptops are this way. Now, I will say that newer MacBooks do seem to have pretty good webcams built into them. Newer laptops we're starting to see an improvement in the quality of those cameras. They are still diminished a little bit, but so it's something to think about. Test it, take a look at yours, see if it's at the quality you want. If it is, then you don't need to buy a USB webcam. What you'll want to consider is having that laptop raised up wherever you're streaming so that that camera is going to be high, because most of the time the laptop's going to be on a desk or a table or somewhere and it's going to be low. So make sure you raise that laptop so you can get that webcam, that built-in webcam at the eye level you want. But you might want to consider buying a USB webcam. So there are USB webcams on the market right now for $80 all the way up to $200. Something to think about that I want to make sure that everybody thinks about when it comes to a USB webcam. USB webcams do have built-in microphones. Many of them do. Elgato just came out with their face cam, which is a webcam that does not have a built-in microphone. But a lot of these have built-in microphones. They usually aren't great quality microphones. In fact, your laptop probably has a built-in microphone that is also not going to be a great quality microphone. So think about that. You may want to also consider using wired earbuds with your laptop. They'll work great. You may also want to consider buying a small USB microphone. Now, there are USB microphones anywhere from $40 to $500, it sounds crazy, for USB microphones. You do not need to spend a lot of money on a USB microphone. This USB microphone that I have right here plugs in USB, meaning it goes right into the computer, laptop, as long as you have that USB connection. Plug and play. These things work like that. You plug the webcam in, boom, it works. You plug the USB microphone in, boom, it works, right? This microphone is only $150. There's one by Rode called the NT USB Mini. I will show it to you. It is $100. $100. That is all that microphone is. You can also consider that one as well. Now, why am I suggesting these? Oops, let me try this again. Copy. Oops. Let me pull this up because I want to show you guys this microphone. Now, nothing about this stream is sponsored by any of these products or these brands or these websites I'm showing you. I'm just showing you so you can see what they look like. So this is the Rode NT USB Mini. It is very small. As you'll notice, it even comes with this little tiny stand that's going to sit down on the desk. Very, very small, okay? It is tiny. This thing will literally, basically, you could hold it in your hand. It's a great microphone. It's going to sound amazing. It is made by Rode. It does come with an adapter so you can hook it up to a boom arm if you wanted to. But I like this microphone because it is really small, but also it's only $100. These microphones have been sold for $100 for a while, so it's definitely an option for you. Yeah, Joey says, yep, I've got that. It's for my laptop. Yep, there you go. So My Little Pony, last time, I can't help you with the situation with logging in. So we can keep the stream on focus, please email support@streamyard.com. They will definitely take care of you. They're going to help you out. Okay, so here's what we got. Boom arm. Yeah, Joy says, I also purchased the boom arm. There you go. So there you go. Rode Wireless Go. Yep, we talked about that as well. That will also work with the laptop. So the super, super expensive, fancy one I said earlier, that will also work with your laptop. So if you buy that, you can actually use that for lots of things. Now, that's actually a point I kind of wanted to make really quick. The USB devices are awesome because they're plug and play and they're so easy. However, they are a bit limited, meaning if you buy a USB webcam, pretty much what you buy is that's going to be it. So you could spend $200 on a webcam if you want to, but you could also save that $200 and save it for buying a DSLR camera down the road, which you can add a lens to. You can use for vlogging. You can use for all kinds of other things. So always be thoughtful when you're thinking about this mobile live streaming setup. Is this just for like a one or two time deal, or is this something you're going to be doing all the time? If it's something you're going to be doing all the time, then you need to think about what are your goals, what are your needs? Do you need it to be plug and play so you can super fast and everything will fit right there in your little purse or your laptop bag? Then be thinking about the size of these products and how simplistic they are, because you can absolutely use a DSLR camera on a laptop to stream. You can use an XLR microphone and a DSLR camera and to stream with a laptop, right? And be mobile. But it's more equipment, more gear, more things to plug in, more things to hook up, more things that need powered. So it is a more complex setup. If you don't want that and you want simplistic, then you want to think about USB. And that's why I wanted to share this option with you. But also know that USB does have some limitations when it comes to that, right? Okay, let's see. Let me try. Nice. The J-Vlog says, if we're talking on the go, there are wireless USB mics designed for karaoke. Yeah, that's actually something you might want to consider as well. There's a lot of things out there for sure. So Christian is saying, for the Rode Wireless Go, you have to go the Wireless Go 2, because there are two models out there. There's a Rode Wireless Go, and then there's a Rode Wireless Go 2. And he's saying you want to get if you want to use it for a laptop, you need that too. So thank you for adding that. So that Wireless Go is limited. So also there may be accessories. If you're doing a laptop stream, you may also need some additional accessories. For example, if your laptop has one USB input, and you want to use a webcam and a microphone, you may need an accessory so you have additional inputs for that laptop. So there are definitely some things to think about when it comes to using these different devices. Okay, what was the other thing I wanted to talk about with this one? Things to consider. Laptop streaming. So the laptop also is going to hook up to Wi-Fi. You're going to run into the same situation. But I want you to consider packing an Ethernet cable. So again, wherever you are, if you're in somebody else's office, if you're somewhere where they actually have a router and you can hardwire in, you want to try to hardwire in whenever possible. You're going to have a much more stable, secure connection when it comes to that. If you're just using the laptop and you're using Wi-Fi, always consider that Wi-Fi may be unstable. You can also use your hotspot. If you have a hotspot with your mobile service, with your cellular data, you can use that as well. But again, same thing. Keep in mind, you're relying on cell phone towers. So if you're moving around, if you're in a car, if you're in a park, that's internet connection may not be quite as secure as you would hope for or want. And then, of course, always make sure you bring your charging cable with your laptop, because again, anytime you're streaming, using all this stuff, it is going to eat that battery up a little bit faster. So a lot of things to consider when it comes to doing that mobile streaming with the laptop for sure. Okay, this is Aussie K-pop Pop Mum TV. It's always a handful, my dear. She says, I have 3 USB hubs gaffer taped to my PC. I love it. That's awesome. Okay, so let me show you guys something really quick. So you can also get fancy. You can 100% get fancy when it comes to these setups. So we talked about those wireless Go, the Rode Wireless Go 2, wireless lavalier mics, 100% something that you might want to consider. But I also showed you the price tag on those, right? They are a bit expensive. We actually had, which browser is better? It's going to be the Chrome browser. Most likely you're going to want to use that Chrome browser when it comes. So StreamYard is definitely designed with Chrome in mind. The other browsers will work, but Chrome is what you're going to want to look at there. Okay, so here's what we got. Let me get this open because we actually posted about this the other day, because next week, super exciting stuff happening. I talked about the summit, but also you might see StreamYard out and about doing their own kind of mobile live streaming. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and following us and all that, because next week you actually may see StreamYard in action doing some mobile live streaming. So we were Julie was doing a little bit of research, and a lot of people chimed in with some awesome ideas when it comes to using, having a mobile live stream setup. And one of our users in our StreamYard Facebook community, which by the way, if you're not in there, you should definitely jump in there. He posted a picture of his setup. So check this out. Look at this thing. This is a device that will actually follow you. So it's designed to move around with you. And if you notice here, there's his adapter cable, the one that I showed you as well. He's got that hooked in, and he does have a special, mobile recorder hooked up as well. So this is a much fancier setup. You can absolutely get fancy when it comes to these mobile setups. So again, he's using StreamYard.com on his mobile device, and he is simply using this fancier tripod that is also going to move around. It probably has stabilization software as well. So if he did pick it up and moved around, it would actually stabilize the image in the picture. And then of course, he's got this fancier audio cable going on as well with this recorder. So you can find Carlos over in our StreamYard community, but Julie made this post and she talked about this, what are you guys using? Now, I will say Carlos recently said that he's gotten this device right here, which is essentially a newer version of, I think, the same thing that he was showing us. So super grateful that Carlos shared this. But here's another option for everybody if you wanted to be able to go with some additional fancier mobile setups when you're using those devices. As again, you can see here that it's used as a selfie stick, but it will double as a tripod as well. It is going to keep your image stable. So another thing you can look at, comes with a storage pouch, power cable, and all the things, right? As I mentioned, none of this is sponsored by any of these products. These are just options. I can tell you, as I said, we could literally sit here for like 6 hours and I could literally show you 100 products when it comes to options for mobile streaming. So lots of options out there. Only thing we can do, right? So thank you, Christian, for posting the group to our community. If you're watching on YouTube, there's the link. If you're on Facebook, just search StreamYard Community and it's going to show up. Definitely join us and hang out with us in there. It's pretty good stuff. Okay, so Magic Flying Potato says, definitely looking to start trying to live stream with my Galaxy Note. Yep, that'll work just fine. That'll work great. So let's see here. I want to check on comments as well. Oh, Beer Money is bringing up the Brave browser. So one thing you're going to run into with the Brave browser is the Brave browser is actually it's a really secure browser. It will work, but you may run into some issues because the Brave browser does not maintain cache. You're going to have to log in every time. So when you close a stream or you close that browser, you're going to have to log in every time. You can get that code every time and all that. So it will work, but you may run into some issues with it because it is such a kind of locked down browser. So it's definitely just something to think about when it comes to that. Do you have any recommendations for an ideal budget for mobile streaming? No. Do you, Christian? I think the budget fits whatever you can afford. As you see, I literally showed you a set of microphones that are $500. If you want to get really fancy with your mobile setup, you could probably easily spend $2,000. You could actually still use a DSLR camera like the Sony ZV-10 that's really pretty small and compact. You can get that, all the devices and all the connectors that you need for it. It will all fit in a nice briefcase or laptop bag. So you can actually have a really fancy mobile setup. But here's the thing, that's all out of convenience. If you don't want to tear down your fancy setup at home or in your office, but you want the fancy outside, you're going to have to spend the money. But you could also spend nothing. You could spend nothing. I showed you in the beginning of this stream, you don't have to spend anything extra. So is there an ideal budget? I can't answer that question because that's all based on the user and your own goals and what you want to be able to create when it comes to streaming. In fact, that answer is real. That question, ideal budget for anything, really applies to almost all live streaming. You can literally grab your phone and start creating great live videos. I showed you how right there using StreamYard.com. You can have amazing features like displaying comments and doing all the cool stuff with just your phone, or you can spend $1,200 like I've done and have this amazing camera, this lens, the connector. You can have a great microphone like I've done and spend the money on that. You can buy a stream deck. You can spend thousands of dollars to go live, or you can spend nothing to go live. It all depends on your budget, your standards, and what you want to create. So that is what I always tell people when they ask me the budget question. It all comes down to what you're trying to do. And again, you can buy microphones, you can buy cameras for pretty cheap. You may want something else, right? No, there will not be a share screen for mobile until that's a limitation with the devices. So that's just one of those things. But one of the workarounds is you can actually upload pictures as overlays in your StreamYard studio before you go live on your mobile device. And you can click on those overlays, and that's how you can display slides or pictures. That's actually what I've done here when it comes to when I show this slide. This is an image. It's just a full screen image that's uploaded as an overlay. So that's one of the things that you can do as well. Same with this image of the cutoff headphone cable that we talked about earlier. So you can upload pictures, and then when you're mobile, those are all in your overlays, and you can click on those right there in the mobile version. So there you go. Okay. Told you this was a juicy one. So again, Francesca asked the question about going live mobilely. She wanted to know, hey, what are some recommendations here? She wanted to be able to use that iPad to read those comments. So you cannot hook up a webcam to an iPad as she asked, but you can use an iPhone device. We talked about that. You can use an iPhone device on a tripod and then have your iPad right here so you can easily see and read and control those comments. You just have to enter the stream twice. We talked about that in this stream. So if you're just not joining us, go back to about the halfway point and you'll see where I talked about that. So let's do a thing. I want to talk about a few things to consider before we wrap up for today. And I can definitely have some time to answer a few more questions. Here are some things you also want to think about, okay? You want to think about your surroundings. This is about mobile live streaming on the go. So you're out and about. Who's in your background? Who's around you? What kind of noises are there? Are you by train tracks? You may not want to go live right there, or you may want to wait. You also want to make sure there's nothing in your background that you wouldn't want in the stream. If you are live streaming in somebody else's office or somebody else's location, ask for permission and also make sure that there's nothing in the background that they would not want on screen. I can tell you that I've seen times when people go live and they are somewhere else and there's something in the background and it is not something that you would want on your stream. So definitely think about that. Now, with the same thing, prepare those people around you. Let people know what you're doing, because if you're walking around with a phone in your hand, they don't know what you're doing. They don't know if you're FaceTiming with somebody. If you are literally broadcasting to social media, you might want to let everybody around you know, especially if you want to make sure they don't say anything that you wouldn't want to come through on your stream. This is your stream, your brand, so make sure somebody else isn't going to spoil it for you. So prepare those around you and consider who is around you. And then, of course, we talked about the battery life of your devices. You're going to want to make sure everything is fully charged and have backup cables, charging cables with you, just in case you need to actually plug in. Maybe consider an extension cable as well, because you may not be streaming right by a plug. And then we talked about that Wi-Fi versus cellular connection. Now, if you're on a laptop, you're going to need to be using Wi-Fi unless you're using a hotspot on your phone. But if you're on a mobile device, you could connect to Wi-Fi, which would be ideal as long as you are close enough to the router that it's not going to time out on you. And then, of course, your cellular connection, depending on where you are, could be strong, could be weak, could time out. You never know. You just have to think about it and really consider all of these things when it comes to doing mobile live streaming before you approach it. So those are the things that I wanted to talk about with you guys today. We talked about you can literally use StreamYard.com on a mobile device. That is the simplest way to go live. I definitely recommend tripods. I also recommend microphones and thinking about the audio setup as well, so you can have a good experience for your audience. And then, of course, making sure that you are charged up. We also talked about laptop streaming. You can just go get a USB webcam they're very small. You can get a USB microphone that's really small. Another one that I will say that is a great brand that is very affordable is by JLab. The JLab Talk Go is a really small USB microphone. Sounds great. Love it. So that's a much more affordable version versus that Rode USB into USB Mini. And then, of course, my favorite, the Elgato Wave 1 or the Elgato Wave 3 microphones, which are very small as well. They're just a little bit higher price point. So you can definitely have a pretty small budget and still be able to grab your laptop, go out and about, and start live streaming with StreamYard with a camera and a nice microphone. You can also just use your mobile device, as I mentioned, which technically isn't going to cost you anything extra unless you need to go purchase one of those tripods, which I highly recommend. Now, last thing I'll say is you can get really fancy. I showed you gimbals. You can buy these other fancy accessories that are going to really kind of enhance that experience for you. They're definitely not required. You can also hook a DSLR camera up to a laptop and even go XLR when it comes to your microphone. XLR microphones are very popular for podcasters. The trick with those things is this. You have to hook all of it up. And if you're mobile and you're on the go, let me remind you of something. Every time you hook something up, take it down, unplug it, replug it, pack it up, unpack it, you are potentially causing a little bit more wear and tear. So before we get super fancy with all these extra things, be thoughtful about the fact that what are you using this for? Are you just going live once or twice a year for mobile reasons? If that's the case, then maybe you do want to unhook all your fancy stuff, take it with you. If you're going live all the time mobily and you also have a fancy setup in your office or studio, then you might want to consider saving some money and budgeting for a couple of extra things so that you always have that mobile setup ready to go. One of the things that I will tell you is that having a stable setup, grab and go, whether it be here I am, I come downstairs, I flip on the lights, I turn on my front lights too, and I open up my computer and I'm ready to go live. My setup is pretty much the same every day. That is definitely the way that you can go live consistently all the time. The same is going to go for mobile. How are you going to maintain going live out and about and doing it consistently and doing it frequently, which is going to get you the best results? Think about that process. Think about the setup. If all you need is a tripod and your phone to do it, then by all means, that's what you should do. But if you do want those extra pieces, then consider what is it going to take? Maybe consider buying dedicated pieces for that mobile setup and putting it in a dedicated bag that you just grab, go, and you're ready to go. So that's what I wanted to leave you with today in regards to this mobile setup thing, is be thinking about how often do you really want to do it? How much do you need to do it? You may not need all the fancy stuff because StreamYard.com will work on your mobile devices, but I definitely offered some other things today so that you could learn maybe some other things to think about when it comes to upgrading those live streams when you're on the go. The moral of the story and the end of the day is this. You can absolutely go live just about anywhere as long as you have an internet connection, a mobile device. You're ready to go. You can do it. So there's no excuses for you to not be going live when you're on vacation, when you're out and about, when you're away from the office, whatever. If you want to go live, you can totally go live. So make it happen. That's definitely what I wanted to encourage y'all with and leave you guys with today. So there you have it, my friends. There you have it. So let me check in, make sure we didn't have any final questions coming in. Great question. So Magic Flying Potato, says, do we need permission if live streaming from a place like a coffee house or brewery? Yeah. So here's the deal. You definitely, if you are in somebody else's business or where somebody else owns something, you should always get permission. There's two values to this. One, getting permission is just the right thing to do. And two, during that conversation of you getting permission, you're preparing them that you're going to be going live. What if you just started going live? And you were there and there you are live, and all of a sudden some bartender comes in the background and starts, didn't realize you were live, and they start saying stuff that you don't want to be heard on your live stream. So again, when you have that conversation, you're building good rapport, you're doing the right thing, and you're preparing that environment that you're going to be going live. It's always a good idea to get permission when you're in somebody else's establishment that you don't own or that you're not affiliated with, for sure. That's my recommendation, for sure, right? Okay, let me see. I'm seeing a conversation. I'm looking for. Okay, question. There it is. Yolanda had the question. Talking over laptop streaming, which speakers are you currently using since you have no headphones at the moment? Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Headphones. Headphones are only needed. Okay, now backing up, if you want to use the microphone on your headphones, you're going to need to plug in the headphones and use the headphones, right? But if you have another microphone like I do, I don't have headphones in because I don't have any other audio being introduced right now. If I had a guest on screen, then I would need to hear their audio. And if my audio is playing through the speakers, it's possible that my microphone would pick that up. Now, StreamYard does have built-in echo cancellation that you can select when you're doing your setup. It works great, but it's not 100% reliable. It's relying on artificial intelligence, and it also is going to create what's called a ducking effect. So if you and your guest are talking at the same time, one of you it's going to take your volume down. You don't want to do that. So when you have a guest, you definitely want to be wearing headphones. If you're playing music, if you're playing sounds, if you're playing videos while you're streaming, you're going to want to wear headphones because you want that audio to go into those headphones and not out of the speakers and accidentally into your microphone. So that's why when you're using a laptop, if you're going to have any kind of audio like that, you're going to want to wear headphones anyway. If you're just going to use a USB microphone or the built-in microphone in your laptop and you're not going to have any other audio introduced to that stream, then you don't need headphones. So that would be that. There you go. There's the answer to that question for sure. And then when I do use headphones, yes, I use, sorry for the rattling, I use these. We've posted the links to these many times. These are made by Me Audio. They are just clear headphones. So they're really not technically monitors. They're actually just headphones, and they just go over the ear, in my ear. Many times people don't even notice that I'm wearing them, but they're clear, and so they're very low profile, and they go behind you. So if you do need to use headphones, then I love these. These are not very expensive. This particular model does not have a microphone jack on it, but they do sell one that does have a microphone jack on it for a little bit more. So there you go. Okay. So I just now saw this question, which is, of course, similar, right? When mobile live streaming, are there any settings that you should have unchecked, such as echo? So mobile live streaming, as far as settings go, the only one that I would consider, especially if you're not using a microphone, would be the setting on your audio where you actually are going to select, let me do this super fast, actually, so I can show you this. This is something I've been doing lately that I'm going to try to keep doing more because it's really fast. All right, so this is what the settings look like when you have them open right here. So when you'll see echo cancellation, stereo quality, and then automatically adjust mic volume. When you are mobile live streaming, because of the variabilities of audio, especially when you are not using a dedicated microphone, I would definitely check automatically adjust mic volume, because this is going to, if you're further away from the device and then you move closer, it's actually going to go ahead and try to adjust the mic volume so that it brings in a level that is consistent. Just keep in mind that it's going to basically digitally adjust your gain. And so if your audio level's low, it's going to digitally adjust the gain, which is then it is going to make your stream louder, meaning any hums, any machines in the background, those are going to be louder as well. So again, the best microphone is the one closest to your mouth, but if you're not able to stay consistently in proximity to whatever audio input you're using, then you definitely would want to use the automatically adjust mic volume. Echo cancellation is really only valuable if you're going to have, like I said, something else in, like a guest on your stream, you're playing videos with audio on your stream, or you're playing music with your stream as well. That's not necessarily that's for both mobile and non-mobile streaming. And then also just keep in mind, just so you know, this stereo audio only works if echo cancellation is turned off. So there you have it. There's the answer to that question when it comes to mobile live streaming. Okay. So Yolanda says echo cancellation doesn't work most of the time. There have been some times that the echo cancellation doesn't work great. It depends on, there are a lot of variables there. I actually think that StreamYard's echo cancellation works very well in comparison to other applications. But it's one of those things that I think if you have headphones, you should absolutely wear them. Don't just rely on echo cancellation. That's my suggestion for sure. All right. Nicholas says the Rode has a wireless receiver that regulates the volume. Should one still choose the StreamYard automatic adjust as well? If in this case, Nicholas, I would not. So I actually also, I do not use the automatically adjust volume because of the setup I have. The setup I have with my Elgato Wave 3, I actually have an application that comes with this mic. It's called the Wavelink software. You have to have the Elgato to have that software. You have to have one of the Wave 1 or Wave 3. But I use that third-party software, and I'm making adjustments to my volume levels. And if I had the automatically adjust volume level selected, it would limit the success of that. So yes, if you're using another audio regulator, then I would not check the automatically adjust mic volume. Now, if you have a guest on your show, have theirs checked. If they're mobile, have theirs checked because they're not using the same thing that you're using, right? So that's actually what's nice about this. It's not a global setting; it's by the user. So if you can have your audio settings set differently than your guest, which is a nice setting for sure. All right. Okay, my friends, y'all, I got to get going. We have got to go ahead and shut this one down. We've been here for a while. I hope this was helpful. Like I said, this could literally be a 6-hour stream, and there are 100 different scenarios about how you could set up your mobile live streaming setup. So I hope that you found today's stream helpful. Again, we were talking about mobile, like live streaming on the go. So essentially mobile live video. And we were answering Francesca's question. Now, this is the Ask StreamYard Show. So if you want to be featured in the Ask StreamYard Show, just use the hashtag Ask StreamYard. You can post it on Twitter. You can post it in our Facebook community, the StreamYard community. You can post it anywhere. We're looking for these. We're searching this hashtag, trying to find really good, juicy topics where we can take a deep dive and help you, but also help others. So many of you were here today, and I think that I saw that many of you actually learned a lot today, thanks to Francesca asking the question and prompting this discussion about mobile live streaming. So if you think you've got a good, juicy topic, definitely post it. Use the hashtag Ask StreamYard. And if we select your topic and your question, guess what? You're going to get a free t-shirt sent to you as well from StreamYard. So they're super great t-shirts. They're very soft. I personally have like 4 of them. I love them and they're very comfortable. So if you use that hashtag, we may select you and you could be featured on the show. Now, really fast. This show normally is every Wednesday at 11 a.m. But next week, there's a lot of fun things going on. I did talk about the summit. So make sure, or excuse me, not the summit, the industry showcase. So go to StreamYard.com/SY Showcase. It's going to give you a registration page where you can get signed up for next Thursday's summit or showcase, where we're talking about live streaming production. So event production professionals. This is not only great for you to learn, hey, maybe you could be a live streaming producer, but also you're going to learn about what live streaming production looks like, where you may even decide, hey, I want to hire a live streaming production specialist. These are great for live streams, also great for virtual summits, industry events, anything that you're doing where you're doing a virtual production. Definitely check that out next week. That is next Thursday, but get registered at the link that I shared with you. Now, next Wednesday, we won't be doing Ask StreamYard. We're going to take a break next week, but we'll be back on October 6th. Did I say that showcase was next Thursday? It's not. It's October 7th. But next week, StreamYard's going to be out and about, and we will be live. So make sure you are tuned in, subscribed to StreamYard, whether you are following the Facebook page or subscribed over on YouTube, so that you can know what's going on next week and turn on the notifications, because there's going to be a lot of impromptu fun stuff happening next week. So I will be back with you on October 6th for the next episode of Ask StreamYard. So until then, my friends, definitely want to say ta-da. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate all of you and the great questions that you asked, but also the great suggestions that you shared today. As I said, nobody can be an expert in this topic. There's too many variables. There's so many scenarios. So if you have other suggestions when it comes to mobile live streaming and having that kind of setup, go into our Facebook community and share your setup. Share a picture with us about what gear you're using. What are you using for your mobile live streams? I would love to see your suggestions and your recommendations over in the Facebook community. So jump in there, join us, and let us know what you're using for your mobile setup. All right, my friends, I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Until then, definitely have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys later.